Good morning, grade 9 Mulave. How are you today? I'm Sir Bensor, your teacher in science. Today, we are going to explore how amazing God's work when it comes to breathing. So, since our classes now are done online most of the time, here are some rules and guidelines to help everyone have an effective online learning experience. First, be on time. Be ready at least 15 minutes before the online class schedule begins and check if your device or gadgets and connections work properly. Second, be ready. Have your book, notebook, pen, and pencil, and other necessary materials with you. Third, be respectful. Wear appropriate clothes or required class uniform. If you dress wisely, you will feel energized and confident. Place your microphone on mute unless you are advised to speak while someone is speaking or performing. Activate your camera also so that your teacher and your classmates can see you as well. Fourth, be attentive. Pay attention to your teacher or classmate while he or she is explaining. And last one, participate actively. Participate actively by sharing your relevant ideas or asking valid questions during discussion. Alright, okay? Before we start our discussion, may we have our Bible verse for today. So, our Bible verse for today coming from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. And it says there, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Amen. Moving on, in the picture given or presented, explains how air comes in and out to our nose. Meaning to say, when you breathe in or inhale, the oxygen-rich air first enters to your nose, nasal passages, trachea, and lungs. The entering air is made warm, damp, and clean of unknown particles through the nose and nasal passageways. Then, the air goes down through the trachea, to the bronchi, to the bronchioles, and finally, to the alveoli. Alveoli, also known as air sacs, these are the actual site of gas exchange inside our lungs. The oxygen diffused out from the alveoli to the capillaries. The blood carries the oxygen molecules to the different parts of the cell and process the nutrients to release energy. During this process, carbon dioxide is now formed. The blood carries carbon dioxide and molecules back to the heart and pump to the lungs. When you breathe out or exhale, carbon dioxide moves out of the body from the alveoli to the bronchioles, to the bronchi, to the trachea, to the nasal passageways, and then out from our nose. If you already heard, our news update for today's COVID-19 pandemic is now too serious, too dangerous to every one of us. All of us already know how COVID-19 destroys or ruins one's health. COVID-19 is a respiratory illness that targets the lungs. For many, the virus will present the mild to moderate symptoms and will not require hospitalization. But for others, the disease can be more serious and lead to hospitalization, critical care, and in some cases, it can be fatal, resulting death. COVID-19 starts with droplets from an infected person's cough, sneeze, or even breath. Those droplets can be in air or on surfaces that you touch, which can then transfer when you touch your eyes, nose, or even your mouth. Once the virus enters your body, it looks for a home in the mucous membranes inside your nose or even your throat. It can be 14 days before you realize you have been infected and experience early symptoms such as fever, sore throat, or dry cough. The virus continues to move down your respiratory tract, eventually landing in your lungs, where it can cause inflammations and infections, making it more difficult to breathe. The most serious cases of COVID-19 involve lung infections, where the virus can cause acute respiratory distress syndrome, which can be potentially fatal as it closes off air sacs and causes inflammation of the lungs, making breathing difficult. Although most COVID-19 cases resolve with mild to moderate symptoms, it is important to keep the lungs healthy during this time of pandemic. So, our lesson for today is all about respiratory system. Respiratory system is the organ system responsible in supplying oxygen inside our human body. In humans, the main organs responsible for respirations, which are present inside the thoracic cavity. In the thorax region, the rib cage and the dome-shaped fibrous tissue, which is also known as the diaphragm, are observed. Present within the rib cage are the pleural membranes, which enclose the lungs. The right lung is divided into 3 lobes. First one, the right superior. The second one, the right middle. And the last one, the right inferior lobes. How about the left lung? The left lung is smaller and it has only 2 lobes, unlike the right lung consists of 3 lobes. Now let's go back to the left lung. First division of the left lung is the left superior, and the second one is the left inferior lobes. Now both the lungs are associated externally with the small 2 tubular bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. The trachea has incomplete C-shaped rings of cartilage which prevent the tracheal wall from collapsing. The trachea leads into the pharynx, which is connected to our nostrils. Next, how gas exchange inside our lungs. As you breathe air, the oxygen molecules enter the nostril and travel downwards through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travel into the lungs. So within the lungs, the bronchus divides repeatedly to form bronchioles. Oxygen travels through these what we call bronchioles and reaches the alveoli, each of which is surrounded by a network of capillaries. As blood flow through the capillaries, the oxygen molecules from the alveolus diffuse into the capillary. This causes now the oxygenation of the red blood cells or the RBC. Once it reaches the cells, oxygen processes the nutrient to release energy. Carbon dioxide is given off during this process. The blood delivers carbon dioxide into the right portion of our heart, from which it is pumped into the lungs. The carbon dioxide molecules are released into the alveolus, and then from the alveolus, it travels through the bronchioles into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea and is breathed out through the nostrils. How about breathing mechanism? The process of breathing in air rich in oxygen is what we call inhalation. After the contraction of the muscular diaphragm, the rib muscles contract, lifting the ribs up and out. The movement of the ribs and diaphragm causes the chest cavity to expand, lowering the air pressure in the lungs. As a result, air rushes into the lungs causes them to expand and fill the chest cavity. During exhalation or breathing out, the diaphragm and rib muscles relax. The diaphragm returns to its dome shape, and the rib cage moves down. These movements make the volume of the chest cavity smaller, causing air pressure inside our lungs to increase and air to be pushed out. This exhaled air is rich in carbon dioxide. This process of inhalation and exhalation is known as respiration, which is approximately 20 times per minute. Alright, that ends with our discussion. For now, be ready with our easy and enjoyable activities. Independent activity number 1. Directions. Refer to the diagram below. Check your understanding of the breathing system by labeling each part. Again, directions. Refer to the diagram below. Check your understanding of the breathing system by labeling each part. Independent Assessment 1. Directions. Write a short description or give the functions of the following parts of the breathing system. Again, directions. Write a short description or give functions of the following parts of the breathing system. Independent activity number 2, directions. Read each statement and answer the crossword puzzle. Again, directions. Read each statement and answer the crossword puzzle. Independent assessment number 2. Directions. Answer the following questions briefly. Again, directions. Answer the following questions briefly. Independent activity number 3. Directions. Fill in the table given with the events during inhalation and exhalations. The first one is done as an example. Again, directions. Fill in the table given with the events during inhalation and exhalation. The first one is done as an example. Independent assessment number 3. Directions. Read the following statements. Write true if the statement is correct and false if it is wrong. Again, directions. Read the following statements. Write true if the statement is correct and false if it is wrong. Next, directions. Complete the given statements below. You may start your statement by using I learned that. So you may now add statements in order for you to complete your statements. Again, directions. Complete the given statements below. You may start your statement by using I learned that, and now you may now add your statements to complete again your statement. You always see and hear the statement government warning. Cigarette smoking is dangerous to your health. How does cigarette smoking increases the risk of developing respiratory diseases? Write down at least 5 common respiratory diseases caused by cigarette smoking. Directions. Multiple choice. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Again, directions. Multiple choice. Choose the letter of the correct answer. Okay, very good. For your assignment, create a poster about how one's lifestyle can affect the functioning of the respiratory system. Again, for your assignment, create a poster about how one's lifestyle can affect the functioning of the respiratory system. Is there any questions? Is there any questions? Okay, if none, thank you so much for listening. Goodbye everyone, and God bless.